So, how are these two things even connected to the same company? Let's go back in time a bit to find out. In 1982, an Austrian businessman named Dietrich Mateschitz went on a business trip to Thailand. He was suffering from intense jet lag and desperately wanted a quick fix. That's when he came across a local drink called Krating Daeng. It worked. In fact, it worked so well that Mateschitz got inspired. He saw potential. He wanted to take this drink to Europe, to a market that didn't even really exist yet. That market? Energy drinks. He pitched the idea to many Western investors, but no one believed in it. Nobody thought energy drinks could sell outside of Asia. Mateschitz realized they were right. There was no market, but instead of walking away, he said, "Then we'll create one." He believed in the drink so much that he personally invested $500,000 into the project. He also convinced the owner of Krating Daeng to invest the same amount. They made a few tweaks to the flavor to make it more palatable for European taste buds, and in 1987, Red Bull was born. At first, the drink was completely banned in Germany, but despite the ban, people were fascinated by it so much, so that young Germans would travel across borders just to get their hands on a can. In the first year alone, they sold over 1 million cans. Red Bull started spreading across Europe, then to the UK, and eventually, Germany lifted the ban. By 1996, the company had entered the US market, and they weren't selling 1 million cans a year anymore. They were selling 1 million cans a day. Big corporations like Coca-Cola and Pepsi underestimated the brand. What they didn't see coming was that Red Bull brought an entirely new mindset to the game. Red Bull wasn't focused on making the drink. They outsourced that. They focused on selling it. They built a premium image around it, which allowed them to charge a higher price than competitors. The production cost of a single can is about 10 cents, while wholesalers like Target or Walmart buy it for around $1.90. That's nearly a 20 times markup. But how did they build that kind of prestige? It's hard to find a party where you don't see people holding a can of Red Bull. The company actively recruited student brand managers, young ambassadors who promoted the drink on university campuses and threw parties where Red Bull flowed freely. Bartenders also caught on quickly, realizing how profitable the drink could be. That's how vodka Red Bull became one of the most popular cocktail mixes in the world, and that was just the beginning. Red Bull started partnering with athletes, football clubs, and racing teams. The message? If you drink Red Bull, you might perform like them, like Max Verstappen. Instead of just telling stories, Red Bull started creating stories. Extreme stunts, wild events, and adrenaline-fueled adventures. They own all the media rights to these events, and every photo and video is produced by their very own in-house media company. And with the rise of social media, these stories reach millions instantly. Remember the space jump from the beginning of the video? That 2012 stratosphere jump cost Red Bull around $50 million. But according to experts, the brand value it generated was over $6 billion. So yes, it was a good investment. These kinds of stunts and strategic partnerships are what allow Red Bull to dominate its category. In 2024, they sold 12.7 billion cans of Red Bull globally, resulting in approximately $12 billion in revenue. And to achieve numbers like that, the company spends about a third of its revenue on marketing. But even with all this success, Red Bull faces a real challenge. Their growth is tied to just one product, energy drinks. And that's risky. As people become more health conscious, they're also becoming more cautious about energy drinks, linked to side effects like diabetes, insomnia, and weight gain. So what's next for Red Bull? Can Red Bull keep flying on just one wing? Or will they need to reinvent themselves to stay airborne? Maybe they will come up with a new product line or another record-breaking stunt. But one thing's certain, Red Bull isn't just selling energy drinks. They've built a global movement, a cultural phenomenon, and a brand that lives where adrenaline meets imagination. And whether they crash or evolve, Red Bull already wrote itself into marketing history.